or two and a nigga that go on TV to talk shit. A lot of these educated niggas that we've seen in DC have become more or less making their living off the racial grievance racket. Would you say that's fair?
Yeah.
Tell us about it. Tell us about it from your perspective.
Well, the ones I know, they couldn't make it in their jobs. So once that started to become apparent to the people they work for, and they felt like they were going to be kicked out, I think, or that their responsibilities were reduced, they decided to sue them or threaten to sue them for racism and all that stuff. That was their exit strategy, I guess.
University, you ever had that experience?
No.
Are you familiar with somewhat similar to that experience? You say you just had to lay off a black woman. Wait, you know what? Philippe, do you remember that?
Yeah.
Hold on for 1 second. Philippe, do you remember that black woman that was working at this company, and she was like a big old boisterous ass black woman, and they just hired her basically to deal with the blacks? You remember that?
She was a muscle.
No.
Remember you working in some company, and the white woman had this black woman that she was loud and boisterous. I can't remember what company you told me you worked for.
Oh yeah. That was when I was at Montana.
Please tell us this story. Please tell us this story. That's beautiful. That's a beautiful story.
Yeah.
Tell us.
Yeah, well, she hired her to be her chief of staff, and a white woman hired her to be her chief of staff at Nutanix, and the woman was pretty much incompetent, and that came out as she went, after a month or so, people started complaining about her, so she fired her, and then she fired her, and then she turned around and sued her.
For what?
Sued the company. And accused them of racism.
Yeah, I had that same.
The interesting thing was she accused them of racism when they hired her to a high level position, and then fired her.
I just had that situation 7 months ago. Hired somebody at a $85,000 position. She lasted about a year, but she probably knew that it wasn't a good fit 8 months into the job, and gave her some extra time to get it figured out. Turned around and put a EEOC complaint out there and tried to sue us.
Interesting fact.
Wait a minute. Hold on, Latino. I got one more question because I know Philippe will have to run in a minute. You're in the AI sector. That's the forefront of pretty much large chunk of investment in America, in the world right now. Would you say that's fair? You build our AI data centers. Is that correct? You have companies. You have Fortune, let's say 15 companies calling you. Is that fair? How many black people have you worked around in the last 3 years?
None. Zero.
Why do you think that is? This is the leading forefront of the next. It's like the next revolution. Would you say it's like the next revolution of from internet to AI, something like that? And why do you think there are no blacks in the building out of the AI infrastructure that you've worked with?
I don't think don't think they're in that industry, to be honest. They probably don't have. I don't think they have the discipline and to some degree, intelligence to make it in that industry. It's not an industry, from what I can see.
Well, why do you think that is?
And I don't think it's an industry that interests them, too. In general, I think they're more interested in other things.
But how could they not be interested in the
more interested in entertainment and sports?
You think so?
Those are the traditional industries. I think those are traditional industries that they're mostly interested. Sports, entertainment, stuff like that.
Jesus.
And that's your experience. We leave it at your experience. I know people are saying, Jesus, this nigga here just lying on us. These blacks ain't bitter.